Well, a lot of my videos are a little bit on the shorter side, maybe a minute or a little bit longer. This is going to be a longer video because I've got a couple of people that have been asking me about tap handle collections, the values of tap handles, and other related information. With this particular video, I'm not going to go too much into the actual value of tap handles. What I wanted to cover is I wanted to cover condition. Because one of the things that's very important if you're buying or selling tap handles is to understand the condition of the tap handle. That's also one of the reasons why I typically recommend only buying from eBay, a trusted seller, or buying in person, because those are all ways that you can actually see what the tap handle is like or know that you are getting a tap handle that's in decent condition. And actually, I should correct myself. One of the options is also buying directly from the brewery. So buying directly from the brewery, always wonderful, buying new. But if you are buying used, I normally recommend either buying from eBay, buying from a trusted seller, or buying in person. And to cover those, if you're buying new, then you're going directly to the brewery. You'll be able to get something that's official. You'll be able to get something in good condition. Sometimes breweries will actually sell their old tap handles, so they may have a little bit of wear and tear, but they should be complete. If you're buying it new, then it'll typically be in a box. This is one of the companies that actually produces a lot of the tap handles, is Tap Handles, taphandles.com. There's also a couple of other companies that produce tap handles, but if you're buying it new in the box, wonderful. If you're buying on eBay, you may not always get taps that are in great condition, so you want to take that with a grain of salt, but they do have guarantees. They do have ways of resolving any issues that may come up if something doesn't actually meet the description. One of the caveats with eBay is you still want to buy from a trusted seller on eBay, because otherwise you may deal with a lot of hassle of having to return things, getting broken items, things like that. If you're buying from a trusted seller, then they should only be selling tap handles that are in good condition or better, and they should also be inspecting their tap handles and packaging them well. So, like when I'm selling tap handles, I always review them to make sure that they're in okay condition. I've got a checklist that I go through. I'm reviewing for different elements, and I'm also packing them up in proper boxes. So normally an inner box and an outer box, so that things will arrive properly. If you're buying in person, then you can actually do an inspection like I'm going to cover and make sure that something is actually complete and is what you need. So I've got a few different tap handle examples here. If you're not into tap handle collecting, you can always hang around and like maybe learn a little bit of stuff. If you are into tap handle collecting and you're looking for any additional information, just leave a comment or send me a message. Always happy to try and help out. So, with the different tap handles, there's a couple of different states of conditions that are worth noting. The first one is just damaged. So typically, if you're buying from a known seller, hopefully if you're buying from eBay, then the taps won't actually be damaged, but there's a chance that they may have some damage. So these are a couple of examples. This one I did a previous video about. It's got significant damage there. And this one, it's a little bit harder to tell, so this is something where if you're buying from eBay or if you're buying in person, then you do want to check out for any cracks or anything like that. And this will depend upon the tap handle. With some tap handles, you can have some damage and it'll be okay. It'll just be visual wear. In other ones, it's really going to be a problem if you want to have it displayed, or if you're planning on keeping it for a long time, it may just be something that you don't want. There's also certain examples of damage that are easy to miss, specifically if you're buying it from a place like eBay. So this one, for example, if you just see this and you're not familiar with the tap handle, it may seem like it's okay. But if we look at the bottom, you'll see right here that this is not expected. And this is something that once you start collecting, you'll notice it a little bit more. So this is where the, on a lathe, this is where the drive center goes into. So right there. So that is where the drive center would go into. And what it's actually missing here is it's missing the hanger bolt. So that is what would normally go in there, and then you would have a ferrule on the end. So that is something where this is something that I would consider to be damaged. So that is damaged, and this is and these ones are damaged. And now we'll go on to things that are incomplete. So if you're buying if you're buying from a known seller, if you're buying directly from a brewery website, the tap handle should always be complete. But if you're buying in person, if you're buying off eBay, some of the taps may be incomplete. That means that they're just missing a part, and it still could be okay to display. You may just need to pick up an accessory or some of that, or a part so that it actually is complete. So this Lagunitas IPA tap handle, for example, you'll see right here you've got this metal threaded part that is coming out, and that's not expected. Normally you wouldn't have that. You would normally have something that actually has a ferrule on the end right there, and so that just means this is missing the ferrule. This one, for example, is missing even the hanger bolt, so that one you don't want. These ones, it's not that hard to get replacement ferrules, and if it's something where you're ever having trouble getting them, let me know. Sometimes I'll have extra ones in stock, but not always. Also, you can normally get them off of Amazon and some other places. Sometimes they'll be a little bit pricey, so you just want to keep that in mind. Some of the ferrules can be anywhere from like, I think like $5 to $10 or $20. Normally it shouldn't be more than about like $5 to $7 for basic ones. Some of the other ones, like these ones, I believe that there's versions that are closer to the $10 to $15. So this one is incomplete. That means that you get that part, you screw it on, boom, there you go. It is worth noting that some of the ones that are incomplete, you can't get the replacement part for it. That's particularly true with vintage tap handles, so you always want to keep that in mind. You may have to use a similar part, or you may not be able to get it at all. Another thing to be on the lookout for when something is incomplete is the top of the tap handle. So you'll see right here, this is missing its finale. And with that, I actually have it here. I just unscrewed it as an example. So this right here is the finale, and that would screw right in like that. But if you are looking at tap handles, it's always good to check the top and see if there's a threaded portion there. One of the things to keep in mind is that not all tap handles that are missing something up top are really incomplete. Sometimes it's something where there's something that can go there, but it's also totally fine without that. That's the case with toppers. So with this Windmere tap handle, this one really is totally fine as is. You can screw it onto the tap like that. It looks complete, it looks fine, but you do have this little area right here where you can put something in there. So you can have a topper that goes on there, and that's very common for breweries that have different beers, and they have different toppers based upon the beer. So sometimes you'll get it without any topper, and it's intended to be displayed like that, and then you can get different toppers if you wanted to for the other beers. So those are taps that are incomplete. As far as something that's complete, this Ommegang one, the Ommegang Hennepin, this is a great example. It's a good tap handle, good condition. You'll notice that there's a little bit of wear, but there's no chips, there's no real scratches. It's got the sticker here. You're not missing any phenol. It has the ferrule there. That is the original ferrule. So everything there is looking great. Same thing with this Heineken tap handle. You've got the tap, you've got the ferrule, and it's a small one. There's no missing parts here. This one also, I believe, maybe wood, so it's going to be a fairly durable one. Even if you had any chips or paint cracks or anything like that, the tap handle is still going to be in okay condition. The last type of condition that I wanted to touch on is new in box. So this tap handle right here is a perfect example. And when you're getting these ones new in box, then you're normally going to have some sort of packaging. Packaging is going to depend upon the producer as well as when it was done. It used to be very common to have the foam insert. Most of them have switched over to cardboard inserts. But with new in box, then Let me actually grab a knife. Here we are. Then it's going to be like that. So there you've got the tap handle in there. It's nicely packed up and padded, and that means that it's in excellent condition. You'll have some that may have been on display but still maintained in new condition where they'll still have the box for it. But that's an absolutely great condition to get a tap handle in when it is new in box. You do still want to be careful and make sure that you're getting it from somebody reputable so that it's not something that they've just repackaged in a different box.